It all began with a silence that felt heavier than words. Sam Heughan, the man who had carried the heart and soul of Outlander for nearly a decade, finally broke that silence. What came next was a confession no one saw coming. Fans who had worshipped him as the flawless Jamie Fraser suddenly found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about the Scottish star. In a dimly lit interview setting, Sam's tone wasn't the confident charm his followers were used to. His eyes seemed distant, his voice quieter, trembling between exhaustion and truth. He began by saying, "Sometimes being the man everyone loves isn't the same as being the man you really are." That one line set the internet ablaze. For years, Sam's image had been built on the ideal of Jamie Fraser, loyal, brave, romantic, and endlessly devoted. The line between fiction and reality blurred, and millions of fans believed that somewhere beneath the costume, the man himself was just like his character. But behind that heroic image lay a truth Sam had buried for too long: the emotional toll of pretending to be perfect. As he spoke, you could feel decades of pressure unraveling. He admitted that the fame, the fan expectations, and the constant comparisons had started to suffocate him. "I lost myself trying to live up to Jamie," he said, his voice breaking slightly. "And in that process, I forgot who Sam really was." His words hit hard, especially for fans who had spent years shipping him with his co-star Katrina Balfe, convinced that their on-screen chemistry had to mean something real. Sam didn't deny the rumors directly, but he hinted that the constant speculation about his personal life had caused deep pain. He revealed that the obsession from certain fans, those who blurred the lines between character and actor, had reached a point of no return. "I used to love meeting fans," he confessed softly, "but now I sometimes fear it. Because they don't see me, they see Jamie. And if I ever disappoint that image, I stop being their hero." The admission was raw, even shocking. For years, Sam Heughan had been praised as one of the most grounded and gracious actors in Hollywood. His reputation had been untouchable. But this confession stripped away the Hollywood sheen, revealing a man on the edge of emotional burnout. Industry insiders started whispering that this could mark the beginning of a major shift in his career, that Sam might be ready to distance himself from Outlander once and for all. Some close sources suggested he had grown increasingly uncomfortable with being defined by one role. Others hinted that his confession was part of a larger personal reckoning, one that might explain why his once public enthusiasm for the show had started to fade. Fans, meanwhile, were torn. Many expressed heartbreak, saying they wished they'd understood the pressure he was under. Others, however, accused him of biting the hand that fed him, suggesting that he owed everything to the very role he now seemed to resent. But one thing was undeniable. This confession marked a turning point. For the first time, Sam Heughan was no longer hiding behind the romantic armor of Jamie Fraser. He was standing there, vulnerable and human, admitting that fame had taken something from him that he could never fully get back: his peace. As the interview ended, Sam looked straight into the camera and said, "It's over. The version of me that everyone wants to believe in, that's gone." The clip went viral within hours. Headlines exploded across social media. Sam Heughan breaks down in emotional interview. Outlander star destroys his perfect image. The truth behind Sam Heughan's confession. But few people truly grasped what he meant by those three words: "It's over." Was it the end of Outlander for him? The end of his carefully crafted public persona? Or something even deeper? The quiet end of a part of himself he no longer wished to perform? The answers were only beginning to unfold. The fallout from Sam Heughan's confession was immediate and brutal. Within hours, social media turned into a battlefield. His most loyal fans rushed to defend him, claiming his honesty was proof of his integrity. Others accused him of being ungrateful, of destroying the very image that made him beloved. For the first time in years, the man once idolized as the embodiment of calm strength was at the center of a storm he couldn't control. But behind the chaos, those who knew Sam best said this was not a breakdown, it was liberation. After years of living as the fantasy of millions, Sam was finally confronting the emotional scars of fame. One close friend described it best: Sam didn't lose himself overnight. It happened slowly, every time he had to smile when he wanted to scream. For nearly a decade, Outlander had made him a global icon. But the weight of being Jamie Fraser had become unbearable. Producers expected perfection. The media demanded romantic headlines. Fans wanted to see him only as the man from their screens, never as the flawed, quiet, sometimes lonely human being behind it all. After the interview aired, sources from the Outlander set claimed the mood changed instantly. The cast felt uneasy, not because Sam had done something wrong, but because his words echoed the feelings many of them had kept hidden. Katrina Balfe, his longtime co-star and confidant, reportedly sent him a private message saying, "You finally said what we all feel, but no one dares to admit." Still, there were whispers that his relationship with the studio had been strained even before the confession. Some insiders hinted that Sam had been pushing for more creative control over his character, while others believed he was emotionally checked out of the role months before filming ended. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear: Sam was ready to move beyond the image that had defined his life for too long. In the days following the confession, journalists scrambled to interpret his words. Was he hinting at leaving Outlander? Or was this his way of revealing a deeper personal struggle, perhaps something connected to his love life, which he had always kept fiercely private? Fans began revisiting old interviews, dissecting every look, every laugh, every offhand comment. The internet turned his vulnerability into headlines, memes, and speculation. And yet, amid the noise, Sam stayed silent. No clarifying statements, no apologies, no denials, just silence, the same silence that had begun this entire story. A week later, he appeared at a charity event in Edinburgh. Gone was the polished Hollywood smile. Instead, he looked serene, almost relieved. When asked by a reporter about the reaction to his confession, Sam simply said, "The truth doesn't destroy you, pretending does." That one line reignited everything. Fans began to see his confession not as a scandal, but as a rebirth. A declaration that he was no longer willing to live inside the expectations of others. For years, Sam had represented strength, love, and loyalty through his character. But now, he was showing something even rarer: courage in vulnerability. Industry watchers began calling this the Heughan shift, the moment he stopped being a character and started being a man. Directors and producers from outside the Outlander world reached out with new offers: darker roles, psychological thrillers, even a biopic. The entertainment world loves reinvention, and Sam's confession had given him exactly that: a raw authenticity that audiences couldn't look away from. Still, the emotional cost was heavy. Some fans unfollowed him. Others accused him of betraying the fantasy they had clung to for years. But for every critic, there were 10 supporters who said his honesty had made them love him more. In a heartfelt message posted weeks later, Sam finally addressed his fans directly. "I never meant to hurt anyone. I just needed to be real. I've played a man who stands for truth and love, and it's time I live by the same values myself." Those words marked the closing of one chapter and the quiet beginning of another. Outlander would always be part of him, but it would no longer define him. The confession that once seemed like the end was, in fact, his new beginning. Today, when fans look at Sam Heughan, they no longer see just Jamie Fraser. They see a man who dared to break his own myth, to stand in front of millions and say, "I'm human." And in that honesty, raw, imperfect, unfiltered, Sam didn't destroy his image. He rebuilt it.